Hi, everyone. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and PETA is well known for using photos and videos to make our point and to show people what happens to animals who are used for experimentation, food, clothing, and entertainment. But carefully chosen words can have an even greater impact. Fighting for rights, whether they're human rights, civil rights, women's rights, or animal rights, means breaking through preconceived notions about others, challenging long-held beliefs about who others are in order to begin to make change. To start people along this journey, PETA uses ads and other tactics to make important points. PETA is the largest animal rights group in the world. We believe that although we differ from animals in many ways, like us, they have the capacity to suffer, to feel pain, hunger, and thirst, to enjoy feelings of affection and love, but also feel anxiety and fear. They therefore deserve consideration based on their needs. Okay, so we live in a world where eating meat and wearing animal skins is widely accepted. We're also a nation of animal lovers, people who, for the most part, don't want to cause harm to an animal, but they also don't necessarily want to acknowledge that it happened, especially when we're talking about traditional lifestyle habits like what you wear and what you eat. By condemning animal testing, we are challenging long-held beliefs that the person in the white lab coat might not have all the answers. What's more, we have the enormous task of trying to represent a group of individuals who cannot represent themselves. We're asking people like all of you today to consider someone they may never have seen, someone who is completely unlike them in the obvious ways, who will never be like them. And on your way to considering all of that, would you mind changing the way you eat and throwing out many of the lifestyle habits you have accumulated over your life? It's a challenge, to say the least. Now let's look at another challenge, getting attention for animals. It's hard to break through when there is so much else going on in the world. So we use street theater, pushy antics, and provocative campaigns. Our challenge is always to keep the animals in the forefront of people's minds every day. If they aren't talking about animal rights, they aren't thinking about it either. As you view these ads, consider how they challenge your beliefs and your way of thinking. Our nationwide I'm Me Not Meat ad campaign makes a simple but powerful statement. Cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, fish, lobsters, even octopuses have graced these ads, urging people to see them as individuals, not as food. How do you feel when you look at this ad? How would you feel if you saw it on your way to buy a hamburger? How many of you would be compelled to order the veggie burger instead? Remember, with so much else going on in the world, our challenge is to break through and keep the animals at the forefront of their minds. You know the phrase, out of sight, out of mind? We try to keep the animals in people's sights and in their minds to make exploiting them a little bit harder. Most people would never hurt an animal themselves and find images of them to be heartwarming, like the animals in these ads, yet they still eat them. This is called cognitive dissonance, when your beliefs and your actions don't quite line up. It's the same thing you experience, for instance, when you buy a plastic water bottle knowing it's bad for the environment. Let's examine the use of the first-person perspective in the I May Not Meat ad. What effect does that have on the audience? They themselves are telling you these words, which makes it harder to ignore and pulls on your heartstrings a bit more. Notice the placement in this version of the ad, right next to a McDonald's sign. PETA places these ads near fast food restaurants to encourage customers to exercise empathy and make kinder choices at the drive-thru. PETA tries to point out the cognitive dissonance our audience experiences when it comes to eating animals and make them feel uncomfortable or conflicted so that they'll change their behavior, like we've done in this ad we call Grace.
You know what? Yeah.
That's a Grace one?
Thank you, sure. Dear God, thank you for the turkey we're about to eat, and for the turkey farms where they pack them into dark, tiny little sheds for their whole lives. Thank you for when they burn their feathers off while they're still alive, and for when turkey gets kicked around like a football and killed by people who think it's fun to stomp on their little turkey heads. And special thanks for all the chemicals and dirt and poop that's in the turkey we're about to eat. Oh, and thank you for rainbows. Amen. Let's eat.
We hope people who see this ad experience the same thing the family is experiencing, a sense of unease, which will hopefully make them think twice about whom they're eating. This thought-provoking demonstration is designed to elicit an emotional response from passersby, the most eye-catching being a lifelike dog prop on a grill. How do you think people react to this? You likely guessed it. People are shocked, disturbed, and upset. The sign below reads, "If you wouldn't eat a dog, why eat a pig?" Would this message be as effective without the visual of the dog? Why or why not? Well, the dog, an animal whom they care for as companions in their home, appeals to people's emotions. People love dogs. Most would never hurt a dog intentionally, let alone eat one. This forces the audience to consider the question of why they think eating some animals is acceptable and eating others is cruel, and to confront those speciesist views. Speciesism is the misguided belief that one species is more important than another. So moving on, what happens in laboratories, including burning, poisoning, crippling, and blinding animals, would be considered criminal cruelty if it occurred elsewhere. These animals did not consent to being poked and prodded, cut up, tormented, and killed. They aren't necessary, often holding us back from cures and treatments that actually work because tests that may prove successful in animals almost always fail in humans. And no experiment on animals, no matter how painful, is prohibited by law. This, of course, is not logical, which is exactly what this ad aims to make clear to the public, whose tax dollars fund these cruel tests. PETA places these ads throughout university towns all over the country, on billboards, bus shelters, and in university newspapers, to appeal to people's sense of reasoning. Just because you rename something that is cruel doesn't make it not cruel. Let's discuss the phrase, "get away with murder." It's an idiom meaning to succeed in doing whatever one chooses without being punished. We, of course, mean this in the literal sense. Animals used in experiments are almost always killed after they're no longer of use to experimenters. But the use of this common phrase in its figurative sense makes the ad and its message more memorable. PETA features a diverse host of celebrities in our ad campaigns too, using their appeal to reach the masses. For example, singer-songwriter Noah Cyrus and other young celebrities have starred in campaigns to end dissection in classrooms. In this ad, we use eye-catching makeup and prosthetics to display a familiar scene to many students who participated in dissections. The ad makes a clear and powerful statement in the first-person point of view. I am not a classroom experiment. What effect does this first-person statement have on the audience? Did you know some animals are killed specifically for dissection? Would this ad be as effective if it read, "Animals are not classroom experiments"? Also notice the textbook near Noah's head titled "Animal Dissection." She is on the table. She has been dissected, therefore, she is the animal the book references. By drawing a direct comparison between Noah, a human, and the cats, frogs, rats, pigs, and other animals used in dissections, the ad points out that humans are animals, and if it's unethical to dissect one, it should be equally as unethical to dissect the others. So consider how these ads challenged your beliefs and your way of thinking. How did you feel? Did they make you reconsider some of your everyday choices? Are your beliefs consistent with your behavior? Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure to present this material. Please visit PETA.org to learn more about speciesism and animal rights. Bye now.